You may be thinking to yourself, should I sell now? Should I buy now? Should I do something right now? We're going to lay it out right now. What's going to happen over the next 6 months as we head through fall and into spring? Detail every month what to expect, when the best time to buy is, when the best time to sell is. Because yes, the market's a little wonky right now, but if you are buying or selling, there are times where it makes more sense for you. Let's get into it. What's going on? This is Steve with the Malone Home Team EXP in the Atlanta area. Hope you're doing well. If you would not mind helping us out by subscribing and liking the video, that's going to help us with the Google juice, as the kids call it. I don't know if the kids call it that. I've heard it called it once, and I just run with it. So the Google juice, we'll take it. It just helps us get found out there as we try to kind of educate people on what's going on in the world of real estate. So what's going on in the world of real estate? A lot of people they're kind of, they're wondering what's going on. We're very quiet right now. We're recording this end of September 2023. And people are kind of wondering what's going to happen end of this year and the beginning of next year in the world of real estate, because we're kind of an inflection point right now. I really feel like over these next 6 months, we're going to have a major shift in how things are going in the real estate market. Okay. A lot of it has to do with the Fed. A lot of it has to do with interest rates. A lot of it has to do with inventory. A lot of it has, with the economy. We've got an election coming up next year. It's going to be crazy over this next 6 months in real estate. So we're going to highlight what to expect over the next 6 months, okay? And what it means for you if you are a buyer or if you are a seller. Because if you're a buyer, there's a time where I'm thinking this makes the most sense for you. And if you're a seller, this is what makes the most sense for you. So let's break it down. I think we're going to break it down into the fall, so October through December. And then we're going to talk about spring, January through, we're going to call it April, okay? What I think is going to happen, what it means for you if you're selling, what it means for you if you are buying. Okay, so let's break it down. If you're thinking about making something happen, but you want to be at the most advantageous time, I'm going to tell you something right now. Okay, if you're waiting for prices to drop, you missed the boat back in 2008. Okay, the prices are not going to drop. In North Georgia, we had a little bit of a stall last year when things got quiet, and in some areas and locales, may have come down a little bit. That was probably your best chance to take advantage of the market. What I want you to do right now is think to yourself, okay, because these houses you're going to buy, these are assets, these are investments, okay, they're going to go up in value, okay? In the North Georgia area, in the Atlanta area, they've been going up in value. There's no market forces showing us that they're going to go down in value over the next 3 to 5 years. We just don't have enough homes on the market, okay? So think of it as an investment. So what I want you to think about as a buyer is not saying, well, I'm going to wait for all the prices to drop. We're not going to approach it like that, okay? Don't approach it like that because you're going to miss out. What I want you to do is I want you to say to yourself, I'm going to grab a house when it is the most advantageous time for me to grab a house. We have the least amount of competition. I'm going to get the best deal possible, and I'll be able to run, okay? That's how we're going to approach it. So let's talk about buyers, sellers, what's going to happen. Let's start out talking about fall. Here we go. Fall. As of right now, this is late September. Mortgage rates are still holding in the low sevens. They are going to slowly come down. Don't expect a major drop. I don't think that they're going to end up in the fives anytime soon. I don't think we're even going to see the fives as we head into next year as I look at everything. Now, keep in mind, I'm shooting from the hip. I don't have any letters behind my name, so anything I talk about regarding rates and whatever is just, again, based on what I've learned and what I see and whatever, but don't take my word as the gospel, okay? So if you want more information, I got lenders you can talk to, okay? I'm just going to shoot from the hip, tell you what I think. So don't at me, bro. All right, so, but what do I think is going to happen with rates? I think rates are going to slowly go down. I think we're going to end up in the upper sixes by the end of the year. I think we're going to be around 6.8 by the time we get to December 31st. That's my guess. They're going to slowly come down. The Feds, in my opinion, they're done raising their rate, okay? There's a 59% chance that they are done raising their rate, okay? I'll take that at this point. So as of the end of September, they're done raising their rates the rest of the year, okay? That's the good news. The bad news is they're going to hold at that rate probably through June. They're just going to sit. In a lot of ways, that doesn't necessarily bring a lot of relief, but what it does is it tells the markets that the Feds are okay with the way things are going. Okay, the Feds are okay with the way that inflation's coming back, the way everything's coming back, and they are not going to open the spigot back up and come down on the rates until they're 100% sure everything is working in the right direction. If they weren't sure it was working in the right direction, they'd keep raising the rates. They're pretty sure it's working in the right direction. They're going to hold where they are right now, okay? In time, what that's going to mean is the mortgage rates are going to steadily come down because the market's showing that things are improving. The mortgage rates are going to come down. Not an astronomical drop. Again, 6.8 by the end of the year. That's my guess. See what happens. So, what does it mean if you're selling or buying? If you are buying, I think this fall is a great time to buy because if you're looking to buy at the best time possible, you buy the fall. In the spring, I think rates will keep coming down. They might be 6.6 or 6.5 by March 1st. If that happens, a lot of buyers are coming back. In the time period where a lot of buyers typically come back, you're going to have a lot more of a multiple offer situation. You're going to have a lot more people jumping in. And for that reason, home prices, which are going to steadily go up over time, they're going to really push up in the spring. Okay, I saw a video yesterday, and I won't even say where I saw it, where somebody said when the rates come down and the buyers come back, that's going to bring home prices down, which is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Because if you have supply and demand, if the demand goes up, the price goes up. But whatever. I'm not a national talking head. I guess if I was a national talking head, it would make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense. Anyway, I digress. Back to what we were talking about. If you're waiting for all the buyers to come back and the rates to go down, whatever, to jump back in, you're going to be competing with a whole lot more people for home prices that are higher, and they're going to be pushed even higher by all the buyers. Okay, so you're going to get a house cheaper right now than you will next year. Will you pay more for it because of interest rates? Yes. Okay, but here's the thing. If you get a house right now at 7.25 and you buy it lower, a $400,000 house at 7.25, okay, and in a year, if the rates, let's say, get to 6.25, you refi 6.25, or you buy it at 6.25. If it gets to 6.25, they're all coming back, okay? At 6.25, that $400,000 house 1 year from now, it will go up in value 5 to 10%. We'll say something in the neighborhood of $50,000. And then you figure with all the buyers that are going to come back, they're going to bid it up. You're going to have an extra $25,000. So you're talking about a $475,000 house instead of being $450,000. Or you get it for $400,000 right now and refi the $400,000 house at 6.25 instead of buying a $475,000 house at 6.25. Do the math on that. That's about a whole bunch cheaper. That's the official percentage, a whole bunch. Okay, so to me, I think that buying in the fall makes more sense than waiting until spring. Okay, now if you don't have the money, you don't have the money. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. But if you have the money, you're thinking, I want to make a move, this is it. Okay, now if you're looking for the exact month to make a move, right after Thanksgiving, it's going to go quiet. Always does. December is a very quiet month. Buyers, they're busy Christmas shopping. They're busy doing all kinds of stuff. It's your opportunity to jump in there. Go snag a deal. I think you get a good deal October, November. I think you get a really good deal in December when nobody's out there. Okay, that's my opinion. I tell my buyers all the time. There's 3 times to go look for houses: December, July, August. Okay, I tell my sellers there's 3 times where you don't want to sell: December, July, and August for that same reason. Okay, traffic goes way down. That's your chance if you're a buyer to snag a deal. That's your chance if you're a seller to get kind of hung out waiting for somebody to give you a good deal. You typically don't get it. So that's the buyer side. Sell side, October, November. List as quickly as humanly possible if you want to get sold by the end of the year. Okay, if you wait till November 1st, we can still get you sold. But keep in mind, Thanksgiving is that magic number or that magic date. Once we pass Thanksgiving, it all changes. Okay, we can still get you sold in December, but it's going to be harder and you're not going to get as much and as good of a deal as possible. The sooner you jump in, the better. Okay, there's still traffic. Is it like springtime? No. Is it like we typically see in the fall? No. It's quiet, but it's not like it was last year. There's still buyers out there. We're still getting multiple offer situations. I'm still hearing of people who are getting multiple offer situations and getting good prices for their house. But the thing to keep in mind, if you're listing your house, this is not like 2020 or 2021 or spring of 22, where basically all you had to do was raise your hand and you got $1 billion for your house. Okay? You got to have that thing looking the part. It's got to look clean. It's got to be staged. It's got to look the part, be touched up, be ready, and it has to be priced right because there are houses that have been on the market for a long time that are not buttoned up the right way. Okay? So you got to be buttoned up. You got to be priced right. You got to be in a good area. You can get sold. Okay? Not as easy as it's been in the past, but you can get sold. Okay? But remember, do it as soon as possible because in November gets a little bit harder because we have a shorter window. People start to check out a little bit in November. They really check out in December. Okay, so again, buyers and sellers. Buyers, this fall, let's go, especially in December. That might be your time to shine because not only are you going to have less competition, but if the rates start dropping into the sixes in December, that could be that magic kind of crossover point where you jump in and bam, hit something in December. Sellers, let's go now. But if like November 15th, you're not ready or whatever, I say pull the plug. Let's wait until spring. That's how this fall looks. That's how the end of 2023 looks. Now, let's look forward into 2024 where things get real interesting. I can't believe that. It's like Y2K was like right around the corner or like a couple years ago, and now it's 2024. But all right, let's talk about 2024 because it's coming. What are we going to see? As we talked about, by the time we get into January 1st, 2024, I think that the rates are at 6.8%. What we've seen over the last couple of years is that the spring season starts a little earlier now because the summer season ends a little earlier now. Okay, keep this in mind. Because schools start like August 1st now, with schools starting on August 1st, what we typically see is that the summer season is very short. Okay, people want to be in place, have something under contract by the end of June. So July almost is non-existent in real estate. August is non-existent in real estate. Okay, so because of that being pushed back, the start of spring has been pushed back too. And you come out of January, come out of New Year's, people had time off with their families, thinking to themselves, "Oh, we're going to make something happen." So I think by the I'll say the middle part of January, spring season really kind of gets kicked off, especially if rates are back in the sixes. I think that the rates are going to get back in the sixes. I really think they're going to come down a little bit more because it's an election year. I think they're going to get back down to 6.5, maybe even 6.25 by the time we get to March 1st. Thinking more like 6.5, 6.4, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was 6.25 by March 1st. If it's 6.25 by March 1st, holy cow, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. Okay, so if you're selling your house, what do? There's two schools of thought. Number one, I would wait till middle of January to do anything. Okay, but when you're at the middle of January, you have two schools of thought. Number one is I jump in right now before all the other sellers say, you know what, maybe I want to jump in. And then you're the only show on the block. Okay, you're going to have some buyers that are looking, but you're competing against a lot less people. Middle of January through probably the end of February is a really good time to sell your house because you have less competition. Starting March 1st, a lot more competition comes back, but a lot more buyers come back. It's kind of rock and roll real estate, and that's not necessarily a bad time, March and April, to sell your house, but to get in a situation where you could have more buyers looking at your place, like percentage-wise, you can have better offers, things like that. I really think that mid-January through the end of February is a really good time to sell your house. Again, you have motivated buyers, less competition, rates are going to be low, people are going to be coming back, you're going to be jumping ahead of all the other competition selling their house. But like I said, you sell in March or April, you're going to do fine. The lack of inventory has been the story in the United States for the last 10 years. We have not built enough houses to keep up. For that reason, it's going to be a very long time before we have enough inventory to be a balanced market. It's a seller's market. It's been a seller's market for a really, really long time. It's not going to change, at least for the next 3 to 5 years. So if you're selling your house, you're going to get a good deal. Okay. Keep in mind, we always want to do what we normally, like we just talked about, priced right. It's got to look the part. It's got to rock and roll. We've got our maximum equity plan that does just that. Talk to us about details. Emails below. All right. So that's if you're selling. If you're selling, next year will be a great time to sell. It's always a great time to sell, except for those 3 months we talked about. December, July, August. You can still sell, but it's not as advantageous as the other months. Buying. What do you want to do? Like I talked about, December's a really good time. You come into the middle part of January, then I think things start to pick up. You start to get more buyers in. Rates are going to be lower. As the rates go lower, the lower the rates go, the number of buyers that come are going to go higher. Okay? It's going to go like that, okay? Like a little seesaw, okay? How's that? How's that for a visual? All right, so the lower the rates go, the more buyers jump back in the pool. The more buyers jump back in the pool, the harder it's going to be to grab a house because there's not a whole lot of them. So if you're looking to buy, the sooner the better. Because once we get into March and April, that's when it's going to be like just on like Donkey Kong, right? If by the end of April it hasn't happened, then maybe let's see where we are in the market. Maybe the market supports waiting until we get into July or August. And I hate to say it, the election throws everything off next year. As you know, in 2016, for the presidential election, things were a little crazy in the country. And in 2020, which is the year we don't like to talk about, things were like really crazy because it was 2020. So what's going to happen next year? Nobody knows. That's kind of the wild card. It's the election year. To me, I think what's going to happen is you're going to have great economic news. I think you're going to see mortgage rates coming down. I think everybody wants everybody to be happy when they go, whatever. So to me, I think that it's probably a good idea, if I'm buying, I buy sooner rather than later because the lower the rates go, the more competition, whatever. Unless you can't afford it. And I got to talk to a lot of people who just can't afford those. They like, hey, I'd buy at 7.25%. Right now, I can't afford the payment. I can only afford something at 6.25 for that same price. Even if it's less home, that's what I can afford. And if that's what you can afford, that's what you can afford. You do what you got to do. Okay, I'm not pushing anybody into a house. I just want you to know the score. Okay, so if you're buying, the sooner the better. Okay, because once you get in March, April, and get into May, things are really going to pick up. Once you get to the middle part of May, things kind of ratchet down a hair, and then end of June, it's done. And then if you haven't bought yet, then maybe July and August are those months to watch. And next year it could be weird because of the election year. That's what we're looking for spring, though. Okay, so to wrap up, again, if you're buying, buy as soon as possible. If you are selling, you have good spots mid-June, or mid-January, I should say, through the end of February, and then March and April as well, for different reasons, but those are all good times to sell. But I wouldn't list my house until middle of January at the earliest for next year. So that's how spring right now, to me, looks. All right, that gives you an idea of what I think is going to happen as we head forward. Now, today is Wednesday, September 20th. We're waiting for the Feds to announce what are they going to do with the Fed funds rate. Okay, that's the rate that they've been pushing up. It's kind of held steady for a little bit. Are they going to raise it again? Well, there's like a 99% chance, according to some of the people we follow, a 99% chance that they don't do anything today. And more than likely, they're not going to do anything. They're going to hold steady. There's a 59% chance that they're not going to do anything at all going forward in November or December or January or whatever. That's good news. It's probably not going to move until probably get into May or June of next year before they finally start pushing it back down. But that's going to allow for all the markets to look and say, all right, the Feds feel like inflation's under control, economy's kind of in check, they're not moving the rates, and that's going to allow for everything to naturally simmer down a little bit. And as everything naturally simmers down a little bit, that's what's going to pull the mortgage rates down a little bit. It's not going to be crazy, but like I talked about earlier, I think we're going to be 6.75, 6.8 by December 31st. I think we're around 6.5 or so, like around March 1st. And I think that we're going to be in the low sixes, close to 6 by the end of next year. Keep in mind that it's all up in the air based on what's going to happen next year being an election year. So because it's an election year, I put no money on anything, okay? But that's my thought of what's going to happen. And when you compare what's happening this year versus last fall, when the market just completely tanked, everybody disappeared once the rates hit 7%, and the real estate market didn't slow down. It hit a brick wall, okay? It's slow right now because it's fall, and it's slow because it's not the typical fall because rates are so high. But it's slow, but it's moving, okay? So because it's moving, we have an idea where we are going in the future, okay? I still think the real estate market looks great. People saying that we're getting ready to have a crash, I'm sorry, in my opinion, there's no financial data showing that there's going to be a real estate crash. There's not enough homes on the market. I realize you can show me data sets and whatever, and I watch all the guys scaring the living crap out of everybody about what's going on in the real estate market, okay? Watch all those guys, and they make me smile. They make me chuckle. I learn a thing here or there because you got to listen to everybody. But then you look at the facts. There's no houses. That's the thing that's going to be driving this for a while. Yes, there's new construction like crazy. It's supposed to be new construction like crazy. That's what happens every year. But the problem was we had a good, I think, like 10 years where we just didn't keep up with where we were supposed to be building-wise, like across the country. And we haven't caught up. We're just now back to where we're supposed to be year over year. Okay, which is great. We still have all those other years that we have to build for. Okay, so we're going to be way behind on houses for at least the next 3 to 5 years. Okay, so for that reason, I'm going to steal a line from Gary Keller. Okay, it is never the wrong time to buy the right piece of real estate. Okay, I'll say it again. It's never the wrong time to buy the right piece of real estate. Okay, if you're thinking to yourself, well, in 3 months the prices may stop. Don't buy a house. This is not your investment that you're going to be comfortable with. Because if you're looking at real estate as a 3-month investment, it's not right. Okay? It's a longer term investment than that. If you want a 3-month investment, there's plenty that you can do. Okay? And I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying if that's what you want, real estate's not the right avenue to go down. Okay? Because it's not going to be like 2020, 2021, like where we had 19% year over year. That was nuts. You're not going to have that again. Okay? God willing, because that was a crazy town. But you're going to have a steady improvement of prices year over year over year over year. That's how it's been since we started building houses. Okay, so I mean, just think about it. Go back 10 years. Go back 5 years. Go back 5 years. Go back to 2018. Don't you wish you had like 1 or 2 rental properties that you bought back in 2018 that you thought were overpriced back then, but you threw some renters in there, and now 5 years later, what's that house worth? It's worth a whole lot of money. It's what it's worth. Okay, I wish I had 2 or 3 rental houses that I bought back in 2018. That's life. Okay, but it's never the wrong time to buy the right piece of real estate. Okay, is it going to go up as much over the next 5 years as it did the last 5 years? Probably not. But is it going to go up? In my opinion, because of the lack of inventory, absolutely. Okay, so I think the market's going to be healthy. I think it's going to be solid. I think it's still rumbling forward. I think this is still a time to jump in. Okay, there you go. That's my piece I've said. So I got to give you a breakdown of the end of this year, beginning of next year, where the market is right now, what's going on with the rates, what do I think? If you have questions, my email's below. You can always call me at 470-233-4409. You can tell me if I'm full of crap. My wife does it all the time. So there you go. But I love you, dear. This is Steve, Malone Home Team EXP in Atlanta. I appreciate your time. Take care. Bye.